Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Hazrin. Today we would like to present our project presentation, which is public library. So first is introduction. So in introduction, we have 4 points. So first point is the construction of a public library in the Cemor neighborhood is one of the decisions that our company has made. High-cost three-story commercial building with excellent facilities in terms of green building, which our group hopes to achieve. Estimate to cost roughly among RM 4 million. So method of calculation used to calculate while predicting risk and return to when investing in a project, which is 4 things. First one is weighted average cost of capital, WACC, life cycle cost, LCC, work breakdown structure, WBS, and cash flow diagram. We continue with project information. So first is our background company. Our company name is Maju Jaya Group Berhad Company. Info of project, project proposed construction of commercial building 3-story. Location Cemor Perak. Area base among 2,500 square feet. So duration, contract and cost for our construction is 3.5 million and contract duration among 3 years. Insurance, general liability insurance, Maybank Bank, coverage by percentage until the project completed. Method of project financing, debt 30%, equity 70%. Concept of the building, first our location at Cemor Perak, and concept of building, high cost of institutional building, 3-story of commercial building that includes First floor is lobby, sitting area and food court. Second floor, ICT space and library. Third floor is library space and study room. So our project finished, rent at RM 780,000 per year and profit RM 144,000 per year. So estimate cost RM 4 million and construction cost RM 3.562 million and debt RM 1.8 million per year. Rent RM 780,000 per year and profit 100,000 per year.
Next, I would like to continue this presentation with life cycle costs. Costs for the life cycle are sum of estimates for both equipment and project from beginning to end, based on the end analysis and estimation of the total costs occur throughout their lifetime.
Yeah.
Next is the purpose of life cycle costs. Number 1 is helping to create a sense of overall cost related to the project. Number 2 is identify and take action to reduce or eliminate the environmental cost implication of a product. And lastly, to assist identify expenses for planning and decommission throughout the project and process design phase in order to manage and monitor costs in this phase. There are 3 functions of life cycle costs. Number 1 is tracking a product's expenses and revenue across several calendar periods. Number 2 is risk and opportunities that may demand distinct strategic action. And lastly, be prolonged by discovery new application or user, or by boosting current users' consumption. This is the stage of life cycle cost. Number 1 is market research. Number 2 is specification. Number 3 is design. Next is prototype manufacture. Next slide. Next is development, tooling, manufacture, sale of IX, and decommissioning. Next is the advantages of life cycle cost. Number 1, this leads to early income generation or cheaper expenses. Number 2 is a more accurate and realistic evaluation of income. Number 3 is in contrast to short-term rewarding, long-term reward may be promoted. Lastly, it's offer an overarching framework in which total incremental costs may be considered throughout the full length of the product. There are three process of life cycle costs. Number one, and stage one is LCC planning of the analysis. Stage two, preparation of life cost analysis. Stage three is implementation and monitoring. There are six major expenses to consider while learning how to calculate the cost of life cycle. Number one is cost of purchase. Number two is maintenance expenses. Number three is operating costs. Number four is financing expenses. Number five is depreciation costs. Lastly is end of life costs. So this is the example of LCC calculation. This is the solution how to calculate LCC costs.
Okay, next we go to the work breakdown structure, WBS. So the work breakdown structure is a key component of a project lifespan and schedule. So the work breakdown structure is an important component of a project planning since it begins with the hierarchy of activities and levels that assist to determine how the project will flow within the project manager's timetable. And also, according to the Project Management Institute, the work breakdown structure is represent the sum complete decomposition of all work that the project includes from start of the project until the finish of the project. Okay, so this is the work breakdown structure for this project in library. We start with the substructure until the services of the project. Next is the cash flow diagram, CFD. So the cash flow diagram is a diagram that showing the flow of the cash in and out from the project. So a cash flow diagram include a horizontal timeline separated into equal intervals such as week, months, and years. Each cash flow such as payment or receipt will be shown along this line, regardless of whether it occurs at the beginning or end of the period. And the upward arrow shows the inflow of the project and the downward arrow shows the outflow of the project. There can be a positive cash flow which is depicted by arrows that extend upward or downward, which means the inflow and outflow cash from the timeline with their basis at the appropriate place along the timeline. So this is the calculation for inflow and outflow. For the inflow cost is the initial cost plus with the loan from the bank and also the electric saving by using the solar panel. So after we calculate, we got the inflow about 5,512,600. And also at the third year of this project, we have the inflow about 5,112,600. And for the outflow, which is the money that we spend for this project, is the construction cost, including the operation and maintenance cost for every year, which is for 1 year is about 1,187,000.
Okay, so for the next part is project finance analysis. So our group we choose loan and equity strategy. The estimated cost of the construction is around RM 4 million. Loan from CIMB accounts with 30% of from CIMB and another 70% covered from selling our stock to the general public as well as the Bursa Saham Malaysia. Okay, so what is debt? Debt refers to as the company's collected money in the form of borrowed capital. The company owes the money to another person or entity that is cheaper source of finance since its cost capital is less than preferred shares at the cost of equity. Equity is an attribute of value to the owner of company. The process of raising funds to sell the company share. The sale of a stake in ownership in order to obtain capital for business refer to equity finance. So there are advantage and disadvantage in debt. First advantage is control. Next is taxes. In taxes, the interest on loan is tax deductible, while the dividends paid to shareholder are not deductible. Next is predictability, or the disadvantage is qualification. So for the qualification, the company and the owner must be eligible for acceptable credit rating. Second is fixed payment. Third is cash flow. Too much debt makes it more probable that the company may have difficulty with paying loans when the cash flow drops.
Yeah.
So for the advantage and disadvantage for equity, first advantage is less risk because of the monthly set loan payment. This can be quite helpful when starting any company with no positive revenue cash flow early in the month. Second is cash flow. Third is credit problem. For the disadvantage, first is cost. Second is loss of control. In this stage, when we or a company take one or more investor, the owner must give up some control in his company. Equity partners desire a voice in decision-making process, especially in last decision. Lastly is potential for conflict. For the project finance analysis calculation, our estimated cost is RM 4 million. Debt is 30%, equal to 1.2 million. Equity 70%, that is 2.8 million. For the calculation of debt, the total is 6%. So for the calculation of the equity, by using capital asset pricing model formula, the total is 70%. So for the minimum acceptable rate of return, we calculate with WACC, weighted average cost of capital, calculation of a fund cost of capital in which each category of capital is proportionally weighted. So for the calculation, WACC, we got 24%.
So next is net present value NPV. So the net present value NPV is a calculation used in capital budget and investment planning to determine the profitability of a proposed investment of our project. So as we calculate, NPV of the project is more than 0, thus we can accept the project. So here is environmental sustainability in building. So environmental sustainability in our building is energy conservation. Energy use is one of the most pressing environmental issue, and management is an inevitable part of any functional society. Construction is the main consumer of energy at every stage of construction project, from construction and design to operation and final demolition. Building consume energy and other resources. So the type and quantity of energy used in the building material life cycle, from manufacturing to handling of building material after the end life cycle, can affect greenhouse gas flow into the air, for example, on various occasions. So this construction can be significantly reduced by increasing efficiently, which is an effective way to reduce greenhouse gas emission and slow the depletion of no renewable energy resource. So if you see here is if you see in the figure, it shows that the stage of energy input during the life of the building start with harvest of raw material, production of material, and transportation. And then energy input of large building start with construction. So in this phase, we can use recovery of useful product for construction from disposal of waste product. So this talk of collection of numerous operational and embodied energy input over the cost of the building life cycle. So for material and construction methods are important to reduce building energy consumption through reduce solar heat gain or loss, which is reduce air conditioning load. Choosing material with low energy will help to reduce the amount of energy consumption during mining, processing, manufacturing, and transportation. Next is the use of passive energy design. So these such as natural ventilation, landscape, and with vegetation, the use of water body for evaporation and cooling. So on this, we can see that it can be helped to achieve the thermal and visual comfort inside building, resulting in a significant reduction in energy consumption by conventional air conditioning and artificial lighting. Next is the most important energy conservation is insulate the building envelope. So this is because has a greatest impact on energy expenditure and also insulation that is properly designed and installed can cut the amount of heat loss through the building envelope in half.
Aku dapat rasakan video ni.
Last, to conclude, our company has invested approximately 3.5 million in the development and construction of this facility. According to the company, the estimate value of a 3-story institutional building is 4 million Malaysian ringgit at the time of construction. After then, the net future cash flow are computed within 3 years after the start of the project. Cost recovery will be carried out in parallel with the cash flow analysis, which will begin 1 year after the purchase and continue for 3 years. This project will generate a profit from the time period specific, with the profit in the 3rd year amounting to 100,000. Thank you.